What is up, Dingle's Crypto? So today we are going to be going over Barnbridge, which is a very exciting DeFi protocol. It has financial derivative products that are coming out shortly, and we will go in depth on what they are and how they work. And at the very end, I have a price prediction for you. We are going to be covering the team as well as the tokenomics. So make sure you stay tuned because this is a very interesting protocol, and this is a financial primitive, which is a very important module part of Web 3.0, and their subgraph is very important. So we will be discussing all of that today, so make sure you stay tuned because this is a very awesome episode. But first, before we get started, if you think this added value and added some knowledge to your crypto mindset, I guess, please leave a like and subscribe because this took a while, and hopefully it added value to your day. So let's go ahead and jump into the tokenomics. So $27 million market cap, only 10% of their total token supply is circulating. It's up 50%, but that's only because the Coinbase custody added it this morning to their custodian list. So that is the only reason. It's not a fundamental change that created this pump. So keep that in mind. Now let's go over their token distribution because actually I was very impressed when I saw this. There's only 32% that's allocated to the team, the investors, advisors, and then the treasury. But the treasury I do not really consider part of the team's token allocation because the DAO controls those, and who controls the DAO, and that's the community. So really I kind of consider this part of the community fund. So really in my eyes 78% is controlled by the community, and there's incentives like yield farming, Uniswap LP rewards, staking rewards, various pool incentives, and the community reserves. So keep that in mind. I do like the token distribution. Very nice. Now let's talk about yield farming. So they do have yield farming pools, 24%. And then there's another one down here at 181%. Only thing I want you to keep in mind when yield farming, it's a zero-sum game. There's no new cash flow entering the market of yield farming, right? So there's no cash flows, which makes you make money. You're making money off somebody else losing money, right? So keep that in mind when you are yield farming. It's a zero-sum game, and don't be the one losing money. So keep that in mind. Next is currently just their yield farming pools. They have 3. You connect your MetaMask wallet. MetaMask is a Chrome extension for your Ethereum wallet. You connect it, and then there you go. You start yield farming and making their token as a reward for yield farming. So let's go into their first derivative, and if you don't know what a derivative, let me kind of make a quick analogy. So a derivative is basically exchanging risk from one person's shoulder to another person's shoulder. So, and then I pay a premium for you taking on that risk for me. So there's always risks in life, and if you are an insurance company and I need car insurance because I do not want the repair bills of my car and other people's cars on my shoulders in everyday life, I will pay you a premium to take on that risk, and you can quantify that risk and then say, hey, this is the premium that I'm willing to take on that risk for you. So that is what a derivative is. So what does this smart yield bond mitigate risk for? And it's mitigating risk for interest rate volatility. So interest rate volatility risk mitigation using debt-based derivatives. And we will go into depth what a debt-based derivative is. So make sure you stay tuned because actually it's right now, guys. So let's go over what it is quickly. Our first structuring will not only allow DeFi users to get access to fixed yield, but also pools yields from numerous protocols across the ecosystem, creating a more efficient market, again smoothing out the yield curve across the entire industry. So as of right now, there's a lot of DeFi protocols, a lot of lending, borrowing protocols with varying interest rates, and this is kind of indexing all those interest rates and smoothing out the yield curve, right? So smoothing out the interest rates earned from all these DeFi lending, borrowing protocols. So one thing I do want to point out is these singular protocols like Compound and Aave, and there's many others that will come out with a stable interest rate option for their loans. And Aave has already done this. They have stable interest rates, and they kind of address it here when saying, while we expect singular lending protocols, and this is kind of like Aave, to introduce concepts around fixed incomes on their platform, a major differentiation of a cross-protocol based approach to fixed income is diversified assets and diversified platform risk. So understand that this will be their main use case once individual DeFi protocols allow stable interest rates, kind of like Aave is doing right now. So with this derivative, the use case is diversified platform risk. So keep that in mind. So let's go over some scenarios quickly. Assume that the entire loan, so you say you enter 700 DAI through a senior tranche and 300 DAI through a junior tranche. I don't know why they split them up like that, but just say 700 into a senior tranche, 300 into a junior tranche. Junior tranche has a variable interest rate, and the senior tranche has a set interest rate of 5%, and then the junior tranche has a variable interest rate. Say over the course of the year, the 1,000 DAI that's gaining interest gains 10% interest. Therefore, let's look at this diagram. So 10% interest, and the senior tranche supplied 700 DAI, and they're set at 5% interest. So 5% of 700 is 35 DAI of interest. So they earned 5% stable interest rate. And the junior tranche, which is a variable interest rate pool, gained 65 DAI. So that's actually 21.6% interest. So keep that in mind. The whole pool is 1,000 DAI. They earn 10%. The senior tranche is set at 5%, and then the junior tranche is variable. So whatever is over 5%, they gain, which it turns out to be 21.6%. Right. So keep that in mind. Entire pool. This is if they lose money. So entire pool 1,000 DAI. They gain 3% APR. The senior tranche has 700 DAI. They are guaranteed 5%. So what are they going to do when they only gain 3%? They actually take some money from the junior tranche and give it to the senior tranche, because the junior tranche is riskier, and they understand that while entering it has a variable interest rate. So this is kind of the insurance for the senior tranche to get guaranteed 5% stable return on their assets, right? So once again, understand that this is what a smart yield bond intends to do. Now let's go over smart alpha bonds, which are derivatives that mitigate risk of what? They mitigate risk of market price exposure risk, right? Using tranche volatility derivatives. So what are those exactly? So let's just go over an example. Hopefully this clears it up a little bit. It's unfortunately I don't have a diagram, and I haven't been able to find a diagram that kind of explains this well, but I will try to help you conceptualize it as I go through this example. For example, if the current price of one Ethereum is expected to be $1,000 and moves to 900 minus $100, the first tranche, the riskier tranche, takes a higher percentage of the loss. Conversely, the current price of one ETH is expected to be 1,000 and moves to 1,100. The first tranche, the riskier tranche, takes a higher percentage gain. It's kind of a similar way. One tranche has a variable return while the other is set. So let's go into another kind of explanation. A smart alpha bond tokenizes price exposure. They can expose users to a high, medium, or low amount of price fluctuation. Higher risk price exposure gives higher returns, but also higher loses, right? So let's go through this explanation. Each token doesn't have to be flat on the price exposure curve. For example, the first 10% of price exposure can have a different exposure curve than the second 10%. The second 10% can move the price up more or less, up or down, than the first 10%. So if you ever use DYDX, as you leverage trade, as the price goes up, your leverage actually goes down. So your exposure goes down as the price goes up. or conversely. So that's kind of what it does. I hope that makes you understand. Hopefully that helps you conceptualize what it does. I wish they had a diagram. I was unable to find one. But just mitigating price risk. And that is what alpha stands for, is the change in price of the underlying asset of the derivative. So I saw this. I'm not going to go over any of them because their main two have yet to come out. So why go over future derivatives that they haven't even came out with the main two yet, right? So but some future derivatives might include smart prediction hedge, smart swaps, and market driven rating oracles. I do not know what they mean, but I might want to look into them, or if you want to look into them, because these look like very cool derivatives, right? And derivatives are awesome, guys. Derivatives are awesome. I love derivatives. So one thing I want to say is stay tuned. These have not been launched yet, so if you are speculating, it is purely speculation, guys. If you want to speculate, speculate. Do I believe in the team? I do, because it looks like they are developing what they say they are developing, right? So bond bet, after the DAO, we plan to release Smart Yield February and Smart Alpha Q2. Products which will bring the Barnbridge ecosystem into full effect. So there's the timeline, guys. Smart Yield by February and Smart Alpha by Q2. But that is the timeline. Keep that in mind. And now let's go into kind of what I say about Web3 infrastructure and how financial primitives has a key module role in the Web3 architecture, right? So as you can see, this is Web3. This is kind of a diagram of what Web3 is and what subgraph is trying to do, or the graph is trying to do. So the bottom layer is basically the infrastructure layer, and that is blockchain storage, indexing, and location. So those protocols introduce data that is fundamental to any decentralized application. And then on top of that are very module decentralized applications that a lot of future protocols and decentralized applications will use data from, like identity protocols, governance protocols like the DAO. And as you can see, Aragon has a lot of different decentralized applications using their protocol and their data to govern their protocol, right? So, and then financial primitives, and this is where Barnbridge comes into play, because derivatives are a financial primitive and is like a very fundamental piece for DeFi Legos, right? And that's what DeFi is all about, is creating tokens that have layers and layers and layers of DeFi or financial protocols, like a DAI token wrapped in interest, wrapped in insurance, wrapped in X, Y, and Z. So that's what DeFi Lego pieces are all about, and that's what's getting built. So Barnbridge is a financial primitive, and that's exactly what you want to invest in. MakerDAO is a financial primitive. Uniswap's a financial primitive. Compound Finance and Aave is a financial primitive, right? So keep that in mind when that's what you're investing in. And they do have a subgraph, and subgraph allows developers. Oh, it's actually undeployed. Interesting. Ooh, I thought it was deployed. Never mind, it's not deployed, guys. So once this is deployed, hopefully it's deployed, other protocols will be able to upload live blockchain data into their protocol from Barnbridges. So keep that in mind. And next, Coinbase custody, but after that is the team. Let's talk about the team. Troy Murray is the first one. I don't know whether he is just the core dev. Obviously he's a core dev, but I don't know the interpersonal tact or how they worked well together or whatever between who's basically the head of this. Who's the head? I don't know. But I just did Troy Murray because he's the first one. And he actually, I looked through all his stuff and he looks pretty substantial. I looked through all his interaction on Barnbridge's Discord, and he seems like a very smart man. He seems to be more of a libertarian mindset. I don't know how right that is, but just by reading his stuff, he seems like a person that wants the liberation of the traditional financial system, right? And the monetary system of the world. So I do agree with him, his mindset's there, and I do like people that have similar mindsets to me, and I think, he seems like a driven person. So hopefully he's honest and has integrity, and the team has integrity. They are not an anonymous team, which gives me confidence. But that is basically all, except I do have the price prediction. Let's quickly go over the price prediction. So Barnbridge summary, another Lego added to DeFi. Once again, the financial primitive. Utility of token. I say we need cash flows. Yield farming is not cash. There's no cash flows because it is zero-sum game. Cash flows like Uniswap is doing, like a fee associated with every transactions on their platform, and then hopefully the token holders will get some sort of cash flows associated with the fee associated with every transactions, right? So the only utility of their token right now is governance, and that is a very hard thing to value. You can govern different aspects to their protocol, risk tranches, where are the yields coming from, how is the risk divided amongst bondholders, etc., etc. And how do you value that? It's partially discounted cash flows plus the utility of the governance and the value and the volume of the protocol. I might do a video on that, but it's very hard to value the intrinsic value of a governance token, and that's pretty much the only utility the token has of right now, because yield farming is not a utility in my eyes. Another good thing is the future potential. This protocol has it. If everything they are trying to it gets successfully pulled off, it has a good future ahead of itself. And it's a financial primitive in the Web3 infrastructure. So keep that in mind, things to consider. Integration to other protocols as Lego pieces, like I said before, as interest rate index-like product. On-ramping off-chain data to automatic recalculation of risk and reward of IR. So basically, traditional derivatives are not automatic recalculated via risk and reward. So you could have like a adjusting premium paid, which is very cool. But what is my price prediction? Let's go into that. This is more of like 2021. You definitely could see a $500 million market cap, which would bring it anywhere between $100 and $300, guys, depending on the circulating supply at that time. So that is my price prediction, $100 to $300. If you enjoyed this video, it took me a while to make. I hope it added value to your day. Please shoot a like and subscribe. Dingle Crypto is awesome. Our group is awesome. Great community. Go join and shoot a follow. All the links are in my description. I appreciate each and every one of you. And Dingle. Peace out.